Jose, quick, name one player from CF Montreal.
Joe Waterman.
Wow, excellent. I'm so proud of
What
you.
position does he play?
He's on point tonight.
CB. Oh my God, David! I'm gonna throw you. If you guys are throwing stuff at me, prepárate.
Well, on that note, welcome to the Hair and Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for stopping by and joining us for episode 75 here on the Hair and Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. If you are joining us live on YouTube, thank you so much for stopping by, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the show. It's a big help, and it's completely free to you. We want to give a big shout out to our chief hair and heads, Matias, Chao, Abu, Ava, and Marivi. Thank you so much for your continued generous support. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you will find a link in the description wherever you are listening. Additionally, there are some other links there, like a link to join our Discord server, a link to our merch store to get some cool merch, and I don't know, there might be some other things there. So check it out if you're interested. If not, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. And now let's get into our match preview for Inter Miami versus CF Montreal. Messi travels to the Great White North. I think that's his first trip, at least from while being part of Inter Miami to Canada.
I can confirm, yes. It is his first time.
You're really on it today, Jose. I'm a little intimidated.
Hold on to your stats. He's about to just splurge everything, just spit everything out.
I have so many that I'm just gonna boom. I just said one right now. Boom. Thanks, Julio.
You're welcome. Enjoy. I don't know what to tell you. So we're coming off a historic performance by Messi and Inter Miami. Messi, of course, with the 6 goal contributions last match, 5 assists, 1 goal. Just an absolute masterclass. And now we take on a Montreal team who are towards the bottom of the table, and they've allowed the most goals in the Eastern Conference. So for an offensive juggernaut like Miami, I think this suits up really well for our strengths. And hopefully it'll be a chance for us to continue our really good run of form and capitalizing on having a relatively healthy team that seems to be getting healthier. So how are you guys feeling heading up to Canada this weekend?
Yeah, so remember last week when we
Panther scored
Red Bulls? Ooh, nice. Remember last week when we played Red Bulls that we said it was going to be a completely different match just because there's different players, different formation, just everything's just completely different. So we watched that first matchup. We're going to do the same thing now, but take it to the next level. Montreal is not good. Red Bull is actually a very good team that we completely wiped the floor with. But Montreal is not good. They're on bottom of the league in most stats, off attack and defense, honestly. So watch that first match. I look back at that match and I get really upset that we lost. We shouldn't have lost that match. But then you look at the lineup that we put out there. There was no Messi. There was no Suarez. I think Freire had just joined the team and he might have been a sub. And it was a 3-5-2 or whatever you want to call it. And it's just very different. That's a complete wash. It sucks we lost. It is what it is, but we may see another firework game today, 6-1, 5-1, something crazy like that too. So
yeah, this is going to be just the same thing that we saw last match, except it's going to be in French. It's the Quebecois version of the last match we just saw. So it's going to be a good time again. We're gonna also remember we're gonna host the watch party. We're gonna be at Unbranded Brewing, and we're gonna sit around. We're gonna enjoy that beating that we know it's gonna be a beating, and we'll have some good beers with us. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun time.
Every goal we take a shot.
Every goal Jose takes a shot, and it's gonna be a great time. If you can't make it out there, please, we recommend you do, because it's a good chance to mingle with our community of Inter Miami supporters. And yeah, I expect the same thing. This match, like Chris said, revenge match. I think I don't know what's worse, losing 4-0 to New York Red Bull, which Chris is a decent team, or losing to a bottom of the table team like CF Montreal, it stings. It stings having that loss on there and dropping 3 points completely to such a bad team.
At home.
Exactly, at home it hurts. So you want to go over there and invade their country and really put it to them. Oh, what a missed opportunity! And really Poutine to them. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think Jose has stats for us probably for how he feels.
I'm gonna spray them sporadically at you guys.
Oh.
But no, the revenge tour continues, like you guys mentioned. The cheapest ticket right now in Canada is $247. Just in case anybody wants to go.
Canadian or US?
Canadian. I was
Good question. I want to say US. US, I would say. Great question. Montreal's going to be missing their striker, Cocaro. He has a great. He's constantly the one of their better sofa score ratings for striker. So yeah, like everyone said, it's one of those matches where we're kind of expecting to go in and just do the same thing we just did to the Red Bulls. One thing to note is that they've allowed 3 games of just 4 goals that they've allowed. 4 goals or more 3 times this year. There you go.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind, seeing as that we've just been rattling off 3+ goals, pretty consistently now. I'm very excited about this game because I think it's just gonna be another one of those leisurely, just Saturdays, just hanging out with the boys, just relaxing, watching a nice football game. Oh, I should say game. People get pissed off on comments when I say game. And football match. We will enjoy it. We will have a good time with everyone. And yeah, it should be a nice outing.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up Cocaro because I believe Joseph Martinez has been injured, so he may not be available quite yet. No,
He's still on the injury report. He hasn't played.
Last I read, until I don't know how accurate it is, but it's until July. Both of them will be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the chance for our defense to finally get a clean sheet. Who knows? God forbid we went into a match and didn't go down early or didn't go down, period, and just took a lead.
Funny you mentioned that, Julio. We've gone down the last 4 games, conceded the first goal the last 4 games, and we still won. So I'm not even so much worried about that anymore. This is creating a false happiness for the other team, and then just wham, 5 goals. Enjoy.
It's more frustrating than it is worry. Like, it's just frustrating that we have to play from that position because I feel like eventually it will bite us in the butt. I don't think if we go down by a goal in this match, even if we somehow go down 2 goals in this match, that we can't come back. But you don't want to be in that position because goals can be a little bit like on the bounce. Like sometimes it can go the wrong way. Sometimes you might just hit the post a couple times, and that makes a huge difference in the match. So you don't want to consistently put yourself in that position. You want to play a complete game as well. Like we've been begging basically for this defense to improve, and we're constantly seeing the early goal allowed. And last match we made it 30 minutes without a goal, and that felt like an achievement, and that shouldn't be good enough. Like, it's not good enough. So I just want to see continued improvement, and this feels like a really good opportunity for a complete game,
especially considering that we're playing an away game. Montreal has, first of all, they haven't lost a game at home this year, and they haven't even been behind by a goal all year at home. This is their 3rd game at home.
Have they won a game? Have they won a game at home?
They started their first 6 matches in the season away.
They're 1-1-0. Sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you saying?
No, them being in Canada, the schedule makes sense for them to start on the road. So they started their season with 6 straight road games. So that part of that is a factor into why they have the lopsided home and away split, and also it is tougher to play on the road. But yeah, they've also been littered with injuries. They only have 1 DP on that team, and it's Victor Wanyama, who's formerly of the Tottenham Hotspurs. So that's their that's their big player, and he's 96 minutes all season. So, and it is looking good for him to play this next match, because yesterday they had their Canadian tournament and he did play 90 minutes. So yeah, it looks like they'll probably have him for the foreseeable future, unless he picks up a knock from today till Saturday. But yeah, their top two strikers gone, and they're not a powerhouse offensively, and they have a new system. I think their manager is Courtois, and he seems like a decent enough coach, but we'll see.
His formation of choice is 3-4-1-2. Something to keep a note.
Yeah, you want to know a fun fact? A fun fact is in the last 12 seasons, CF Montreal has had 10 head coaches, and 2 head coaches ago was the Columbus Crew head coach. Oh my God, his name is Nancy. What was it? Nancy's his last name. His first name
Wilfred Nancy.
Wilfred Nancy. First name if it was Nancy.
Maybe the best U.S. coach.
Yeah, he's the best coach in the MLS right now.
That's fine.
I think he's the best U.S. coach. Period.
Would be.
Yeah, they're saying he's
Nancy.
Probably gonna leave for Europe.
No, if his first name was Nancy, imagine that. Just
last name is Nancy.
I know, but imagine Nancy. Right, that's fine.
No, keep going, Jose. I think this is great. Let's explore that.
All right, the Montreal's also win this the last 4 games. We've only won the last 4 games, so something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, listen,
David kind of took my did you know? I was gonna did you know they're part of a Canadian Cup, the Canadian Championship, which they played yesterday against Forge FC or something like that, which they tied. It looks like they benched a lot of people, but they did play that one player you're talking about, David, for 90 minutes. But it seems like most of the other guys they probably benched. But who knows? Maybe they're tired from that match too. Midweek match.
Yeah, this is one of those matches that I find it hard to logically determine a way where the other team has any success as far as like for the whole match. Like I just find it hard to find a reality where Montreal leave Saturday evening with a victory. At best, they can probably hope for a draw, and that just seems like really pompous kind of, but with the way Miami's playing right now, with the players that we have on this team and that are available to us, I don't see a way where Montreal get 3 points or really threaten us at all. Our firepower right now is it's too hot. It's too hot out there right now. And we're just clicking and firing on all cylinders. So to me, this is just like a shellacking. Let's, get Messi out there, let him stretch his legs a little bit, get a small little lead going, and then maybe we'll see some new rotation going on where we see some players that have been on the bench for a few matches get some playing time.
We're not heavy favorites, by the way. Minus 115, Julio. Just throwing it out there.
I would put money on that now.
I agree.
But I'm not a financial advisor.
Also, agree.
We're confident we're going to see all our major players, right? Or is Messi?
I'm not sure. That's the thing. It's like I think if they feel they have enough over this team, maybe they use this as an opportunity to either have those guys come off the bench in the second half if they're needed, or maybe just completely have them off. I don't think they're gonna not play Messi, because Messi wants to play all the matches that he can while he can before he leaves. But like Alba supposedly is healthy enough to go. I saw a report that he was 100% training today. So I wouldn't expect to see Alba start this match. Maybe he'll come off the bench to get some run going, but I don't expect him to start. And who knows? Maybe they use this opportunity to get some of the younger guys in a little more of a regular playing time by starting them, whether that be Kremaski or David Ruiz. Like, we'll see what they do. That's a possibility. But I don't want to say that undoubtedly yes. It's been a while since Tata's had a chance to tinker, and this is looking like a prime spot for him to tinker.
Yuck.
I doubt he does that, because the last time we tried that with Montreal, guess what happened? We lost. We ran out of time. That's what happened. That's the truth. Because we were actually, I believe we were. I don't remember, but I know that we ran out of time. It was like 3-2.
It was one that Alba took over
Correct.
and scored from like the center right outside the box. I think
Boosie also was out, and they brought him in. Luis Suarez, same thing. It's like they had these guys on the bench, and they brought them in later. And it's like just put your foot on their necks.
Messi wasn't out there at all,
right?
And we've seen what Messi does when he's on the pitch. Completely transforms the game.
Yeah, I think for sure we see a very similar, if not carbon copy, of our starting 11 from last match start this match, and I think we'll just see more, maybe a sooner set of substitutes compared to other matches where we might just rotate a couple people in earlier than usual. We see maybe Rojas come in a little bit earlier. Maybe we see Kromaski come in a little earlier. It'll be interesting how they handle Alba. I do wonder if he plays at all. I do think he'll feature on the bench based on his training availability today. But to me, I don't think they risk rushing him in a match like this, given the travel that we'll have to do to Montreal, and he will just have been coming back from injury. I just don't think it's worth the risk. So to me, we see Negri. He's been very good at left back in his stead, and maybe he gets a few minutes at the very end of the match. I'm talking like an 85-minute substitution for Alba just to like get back into the rhythm. But I don't think he starts. And I think, like I said, our starters from the last couple matches will be the starters for this match. I think we have a really good rhythm going. I'm hoping that Tata doesn't tinker. So this, to me, it would just be, let's start the game strong. Let's not allow an early goal. Get a couple goals ourselves and rotate a couple guys in, get a couple of these older guys out, because next week we have one of the few remaining midweek fixtures of the MLS season. So to me, the more we can sort of rest some of these players, the better. I think it benefits us tremendously.
Yeah, I agree. And like we've said multiple times already, Copa America is coming up and we need to take advantage of all those points possible. And the only way to do that is to play all these studs out there. Start them early, get up early if you can, and if you want to rest them at the end of the match. But you need to get up on these teams quick, get those 3 points, and move along, because Copa America is going to come, and I think it's gonna be tough sledding. Suarez is not going to be here, Messi's not going to be here, and probably a few other players sprinkled in there. So we just got to take advantage.
It'll be just the same as when they were out the last time, where we literally lost his team. So we got to take advantage of all these matches. These next two matches should really just be walks in the park. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where if we don't take advantage and we play that tinkering game, we already know what works. Just keep it going and move on. And as far as Alba, Julio, I love Alba, but it's let him get healthy. Let him get healthy. The next two games we should handily win. And Negri's not playing terribly. Keep him in. Let him get healthy. Maybe put him in as a sub in the next game or something. You know.
Yeah, I would much rather him be available or even start against Orlando midweek next week to give that like fire, that like energy that he gives, the emotion. To me, that's more important than him really featuring at all in this match against Montreal. Orlando, they're going to want to make up for being embarrassed the way they were in Orlando, and they've had a really bad season so far. So for me, I rather like save him. Yeah, save him for that match where we can really just like eviscerate them and just basically end their season.
That would be great.
Again. Yeah, bums.
So
I wish it was on a Saturday. Yeah, I really wish that game would be on a Saturday against Orlando,
so that you could go.
Oh, for sure, I would go. For sure, that would be so fun just to dance on their grave. It's amazing.
It would be pretty fun. So let's talk about players for Miami. Who are we interested in looking at for this match?
Can I go first, or are you guys gonna get mad if I go first? All right.
Just I
want to see Rojas. I think everybody really, really enjoyed seeing him come off the bench at the half and just really put the game on its heels for Jesus Christ. Who the hell did we play? against New York. So I would love to see him. If Tata does tinker, he's Rojas in the starting lineup over the likes of Gressel to see what we can do. I think he had David Ruiz starting. So either Gressel or Ruiz. I just want to see guys put the ball in the back of the net and the fearless Rojas to strike from that distance. He won me over. That was it. I'm like, okay, I want to see him as much as possible in there because I think Julio tweeted it and was what didn't your tweet get picked up that he adds an element that Rojas adds an element that we haven't had, that fearlessness to strike from outside the box. Yeah, Taylor Twellman I think is the one who responded to that tweet. So yeah, I mean, give me all the Rojas that we can possibly get. Hopefully get some more starters minutes. And yeah, that's who I'm looking for.
I'm gonna go a little bit opposite of your question, Julio. I want to tell you who I don't want to see today or on Saturday, and it's to piggyback off of David's Rojas pick. I don't want to see Gressel. Gressel needs to rest. Gressel's been having bad matches. Rojas needs to step in the midfield for Gressel, and they didn't make it happen. Gressel's playing way too much. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know what it is, but he's not playing right. Something's not right. His chemistry isn't there. Nothing's there right now for him. He had like a few little flashes against the Red Bulls the other day, but then the rest of the match was just very meh. There's nothing. So who I don't want to see is Gressel, to do the opposite of what you're asking.
That said, Gressel, if you're listening to the podcast, first off, big fans, and we hope that you join us one day. Or if we can join the player manager for a chat, would be super cool and would love that. Chris is just, speaking in an analytical sense here, but it's nothing personal.
Yes.
Jose?
Nothing's there personal.
No, but also it's also to get him some rest, right?
Exactly. He needs
the
rest.
guy's been playing constantly. I'm not off of the Gressel train. I know a lot of people are, a lot of Inter Miami fans are, but it's just one of those things where, well, they changed the goalie. One of those things with Gressel is that he can play at a high level. I think we're just putting him out there in so many different positions, and he needs a little bit of just steady position play and just give him a chance to like take some rest, man.
We saw him in the beginning of the season. We saw the preseason. He was bumpy, whatever. It was a preseason. But we saw in the beginning of the season that he had it. He had the chemistry, especially with Suarez. He had it. It was there. But for some reason, yeah, and for some reason, the only thing I could think of is he's playing way too much. And he needs to rest. And someone needs to notice that. Either he has to say it himself or Tata has to say, hey, today's the day you get benched. And it is what it is.
Yeah. So to answer your question, who do I look forward to? Man, after there's everybody's answer is wrong if you didn't say Messi, because like this guy just had 5 assists in last games. It's like incredible what we witnessed. And it's funny because I actually, speaking of Gressel, I heard his podcast where he was talking about how when he literally just told Messi, hey man, great game, 5 assists, and he was like, yeah, and he like was like uncomfortable about it, and just like put his head down, and he's like, I don't get it. If I did this, I'd be shouting it for 3 hours straight. My team would hate it. But it's just like it's just another day for him, man. And I want to see another.
Yeah, we've never
another loose team, another loose defensive team. Just I can't wait to demolish them.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that would be fantastic. Obviously, I'm looking at. I think Christoph makes an appearance in this match because Toto will be missing this match due to yellow card accumulation, and Christoph is now healthy. So I do think we see him, and it's been quite a while since we've seen the old sheriff. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like. I think it will be really important to assess our depth at center back. It is like everybody knows, everybody that watches any Inter Miami matches knows our defenses are weak group or weak area. And it'll be really important to have some semblance of depth behind our starters, behind Toto and behind Freire. So it'll be interesting to see how Christoph reintegrates with the team. Maybe we start seeing a little bit more play to Chelo on the right side now that Christoph is going to be re-entering the lineup. So maybe it gives us a little bit of a different dynamic. Maybe we see some different opportunities that help Toto moving forward when we're like, oh, look, see what happens when you actually pass and keep play going down your side. So I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. Like I said, it's been probably close to a month and a half since we've seen Kristoff get any sort of game time. So I'm looking at him to see how he's looking. You know, he's not the most agile player, he's not the most athletic player, but he's probably going to be who we see at center back because of Toto's absence. So to me, that's what I'm looking for. I think all the players that you guys mentioned are really fun to look at. The Matias Rojas is definitely sort of the hot commodity right now. Like you said, you know, we tweeted about how he's a player that's willing to take these long shots, and that's something that Chris actually mentioned when we were sort of previewing like what to expect with Rojas, that he brings sort of that dynamic of the willingness of taking long shots. So we saw that on full display, and it was so great, and it was so cool to see someone take a long shot finally and just give a little bit different of a wrinkle for defenses to have to worry about. And as we all know, if Messi's out on the pitch, it's going to be a magnet, like a black hole for defenders. And if it frees up other people that can actually put a dangerous attempt on, the better. So good picks, everyone. And I think it's time for Dave Stradamus to enter the building.
Wait, we're not going to talk about players to watch for CF Montreal?
They're all injured and they don't matter. Oh, no. Jose, you want to talk about one? Go for it.
I do. Actually, I do. Thank you, David.
The top scorers are not playing.
You know what?
So,
you know what, Chris? Why don't you buckle up? Why don't you just buckle up and listen to what I'm going to say? How about that? So, 3-4-1-2. I mentioned it before. That's their formation, right? That is it. I don't know if they're going to keep it, because for me, it's like, yeah, like you guys said, their strikers are out. I mean, it's going to be really rough to score against us. But then again, we commit so many stupid errors passing back and forth in the back line that I would not be surprised if we give up an easy goal. Like Julio said, maybe this is the game that, like, you know, maybe we get a clean sheet. I don't think we have it in us. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We're good for a stupid game, a stupid pass here and there. So what we can look at in my eyes is, if they have the 3-man back, I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities of shooting on goal. And I think Joe Waterman for them is someone that has been very steady for them at the center back position. He's constantly having good, solid performances, and yeah, that's the guy we got to beat.
I'm looking for I feel like the last few matches, the theme has been revenge. Like we want revenge against New York Red Bull. Now we want revenge against CF Montreal. Let's add a little more revenge in there. We would have liked to have seen Joseph Martinez just to have that revenge tour to continue, but he's not likely to play. So we do have another player that has ties to Inter Miami, and that's Ariel Lassiter, who's been bouncing back and forth the last 4 years between CF Montreal and Inter Miami. So it's fun to see a familiar face out there. I always like to see when we're scoring a ton of goals on these guys, and it's players who used to play for us, just to see their reaction to what has become of this squad since they've left. So I'm circling Ariel Lassiter on there. I also want to see what Wanyama can do, because he is their main attraction there outside of Joseph Martinez. But Ariel Lassiter, just for the feeling. Go Panthers! Just for the vibe on the fact that he left, and we're trying to see how these players feel. Just like when we go to Portland, I want to see how all those players react to the way that we've evolved, and especially their manager.
I'm gonna go with probably a player that's not very well known. It's gonna be Raheem Edwards, just because I actually watched a little bit of their last match. I believe he scored a goal. And they need someone to step up in the attack. They don't have anybody right now. Just like we said, Lassiter was a good pick, David. He is nice for them, but yeah, I think Edwards is going to be the guy who needs to score, especially missing Toto. You know, Kristoff, if he starts, you guys know how I feel about Kristoff. So our defense may have a little hole back there that they could take advantage of. So He should. If there's anyone, he should be the guy that'll score for them if they score. I'm on the train of this is going to be the clean sheet.
And then we'll get to say, see what happens when Kristoff is in the starting lineup. So the player that I'm going to circle is simply, his name is Jonathan, because I don't want to butcher his last name, but basically the goalkeeper for Montreal. It's Sirois or Siroi. I don't know. Anyways,
It's Siri.
Okay, thank you. He's the only one that will stop this match from being an absolute disaster for Montreal, because he's going to be the difference between it being 8-0 and 4-0. To me, if he is able to be on top of his game, get a couple stops early, maybe he's able to get into the Miami players' heads, especially some of the younger players, maybe not like the Messis and Suarez's. They're not going to be phased by a couple save shots. But if he's able to make some saves on some of the other players, it might frustrate them a little bit. It might just sort of cloud their judgment in the final third. So to me, he's the one to watch, because really, Miami's going to be on the front foot this entire match. They're going to be under the gun, and it's going to be really difficult for them really to get into our half even. It's going to be a lot of counterattacks, and that's usually what we can expect against lesser opposition. But Inter Miami is going to be firing at will, if you will. So Jonathan is going to be the only one that really stands in the way of this being just a complete domination.
Sirois.
Thank you. So with that said, before we get into the score predictions,
his name is Cereal, because that's what Messi's going to be eating.
Love it. So soccer, someone in the chat asked if we talked about the 3 games coming up. We have one Saturday, one the following Wednesday, and then one the following Saturday. And we sort of touched on it lightly. I think there will be some rotation. Hopefully the game will be in hand relatively early this weekend so that we're able to rotate people out. And I don't think we rotate all that heavily against Orlando, given that it's a rivalry match, given the way we beat them and sort of embarrass them. They'll sort of want to come out and try to get under our skin, and we're going to want the veterans out there. So to me, we're not going to see a lot of rotation midweek. And hopefully the rotation comes in this match on Saturday, where it's against weaker opposition, and we have the opportunity at least to put the game to bed early.
The following week is DC United, so they're not great either. I probably
didn't we tie with them?
Yeah,
that was also in that stretch without Messi.
Right. So they're not great either. I do agree. I think we have to smush Orlando again just to show them who's boss in Florida. And then if we're gonna rust anyone, it has to be DC United, if we want to do that. But I do agree we have to try to get up big in this one and smush them.
All right, so let's get a pulse check on how much smushing there will be. So who is going to lead the way? Oh, Captain, my captain, are you here?
Yes. Captain Dave Stradamus is here, and I don't know. I'm debating whether or not to go with like a reasonable butt kicking, or should I go with like just the outrageous butt kicking. And I'm leaning more outrageous. I think that everything lines up perfectly for us to just be putting it on this team. So I really do believe that it's going to be a 6-0 victory for Inter Miami. Everybody's going to get involved in the attack. We're going to have the clean sheet. Everyone's going to laugh at Chris because Kristoff is going to have a clean sheet. Or heaven forbid, Noah Allen gets to start at center back and he's involved in the clean sheet. It's just going to be chaos. And it's going to be chaos in favor of Inter Miami.
I'm predicting a 5-1 victory. We're going to commit a stupid error in the back line and give them an easy goal. It'll probably be the first goal as well. And we'll just go 5 straight. I'm also predicting it's a side bet for MGM Sports, not a sponsor, that we will have a Messi Poutine eating on the sidelines or on the 75th minute.
I'm going to go with the clean sheet, baby. I'm going to go with 3-0, my first clean sheet prediction of the season. I think this is the one because Kristoff might start. No, I'm just kidding. Just because Montreal's not good at all. 3-0, Messi gets a brace this weekend. Messi gets a brace and Luis Suarez gets the other one.
I'm going to go with 5-0. I think the form that the attack is in right now is just, it's too much. It's too much to handle. The chemistry right now is really, really good. Messi and Suarez seem to be just firing on all cylinders. And I really have a hard time seeing how Montreal stops it. Even if they sit back and sit in a deep block, it's going to be really difficult for them to stand up against these players because they're just so technically gifted and so far better than they are, where it's just going to be too much. And while John is able to make a couple good saves, I don't think that he's going to be able to do enough on the amount of shots that Miami will likely get off. And I think this ends in a 5-0. We finally get our clean sheet that we've been looking for now 13 matches. So finally that drought ends and we get a big victory. It's a relatively tough away fixture given that it's in a different country and the travels, the logistics, all that stuff. It makes things a little complicated, but I think just right now the form that Miami's in, it's just simply going to be too much. And anything less than that, I would be a little bit surprised just because of how good our attack is right now. Like we are really clicking. So I'm expecting a big game. Hopefully we finally see the Messi hat trick. That would be fun. He came super close last match, and maybe we'll see that drought end as well because right now Luis Suarez is the owner of the hat tricks in the club. So maybe Messi finally gets the one up on him and gives a little separation in the Golden Boot race because it's neck and neck right now between those two.
Did you know that there is another hat trick? Speaking of hat tricks this weekend by Nashville, completely went silent.
Yeah,
no one cared.
Surridge.
Sam Surridge. No one gave a crap about it.
Nope. Neither of the hat tricks got much airtime. Everything was overshadowed by Messi.
Ultimately, how many times we got to be the Nashville's daddy?
And we play them 20 times a season. So
that's right. Jose, were there any did you knows that you did not have a chance to get to?
No, I told you I was going to sprinkle them throughout the show. I'm
just
good.
Fantastic. You are truly becoming the Messi of this show.
Just
I did have did you know that I hadn't launched off, so I'm gonna drop off my last one. They did an interview with CF Montreal's manager Laurent Courtois, and they asked him how he felt about his team, and he said that he wouldn't trade any player in the MLS for anyone on his team not named Messi. I hope that the rest of Inter Miami takes as an insult. I want Suarez to be furious at that. I want everybody, Rojas, all the possible goal scorers to see them put it bulletin board material as this team doesn't respect you. So you got to go into their country and show them that they absolutely need to have each and every one of these players on the team for them to be competitive. So that's factoring into why I think it's going to be a complete beatdown.
What a weird thing to say before we like the amount that we're steamrolling through everyone.
Thing to say.
But the fact that we're just steamrolling through everyone is like, what? Okay.
It just feels like a blatant lie more than anything.
I don't know. Like maybe he's trying to believe. Did he? Okay, let me ask you a question, Dave. Did he say this on his podcast where he's trying to get clicks? Is that what it is?
No, this is an MLS.com interview.
Madrid won today.
Nice. Great job, Jose.
Did you know that Madrid won today?
How do you feel about that, Jose?
I thought it was a pretty great game. They were losing initially. Davies with a monster shot. I think he was going on the left side, on the left flank. He kind of was running the defender. The defender kind of slid past him. He went to the right. Very Robert Taylor-esque. I mean, very Robert Taylor-esque. David Ruiz, he did that recently as well. I mean,
some say that Alphonso Davies is the Canadian Robert Taylor.
There you go. How about that? You know.
Also, did you wear your Madrid Ronaldo jersey today? Or
I actually don't have one, but I have. You know what I have? That's an actual jersey. I have a Madrid Asensio jersey. Go figure. It was the
Of
wrong
all the
jersey.
players to have
It
a
was the
Madrid
wrong
jersey,
jersey.
random.
My wife bought it, and I said, "Cool, thanks. I loved it. It was very nice of her. Mother's Day is coming up. Everyone remember, you know."
Excellent job by you. Yeah, so the controversy enters where at the very end of the match, stoppage time, mind you, we're already like 13 minutes into the 9 given minutes of stoppage time. There was a play where Bayern hit the ball long over the top. Also, like this portion of the podcast, we're completely moving off of Inter Miami now. We're just sort of talking about world football for a few minutes here before we wrap up. But Bayern plays the ball long, and they had a player that maybe was offside, maybe wasn't, but he heads it into the center, and one of their players hit a really nice shot that goes in. However, the whistle was blown on like at the point where the initial player headed it, and it wasn't allowed to sort of play through, which is usually what the referees do. And basically, there was
It
no
looked
way of
clean.
reviewing it.
It looked
It
clean to me.
it looked it regardless of whether it was clean or not. You normally see the ref hold the whistle there and not blow, and that's where the problem is. Like the main referee. Excuse me. Wow, look at that. So the main referee blew the whistle,
I said
and
the
the
results.
Madrid players stopped. So it's hard to say like, oh, a Madrid player wouldn't have acted differently if the whistle weren't blown and maybe the ball wouldn't have gone in. It's really hard to say, but the whistle shouldn't have been blown given how referees are taught to sort of referee the match. They usually let these plays run out, and then it's usually really frustrating because they're like, oh, why they let the play run for like an extra 30 seconds? They could have blown it. Someone could have gotten hurt, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that the ref shouldn't have blown the whistle. And that's where I think the problem is. Robbery or not, whether the goal would have gone in or not, the play needs to be allowed to run through, and they can use the technology that's allotted to them, afforded to them, to their benefit, rather than it seeming like, oh, this was a robbery, or oh, that was like what's it called, like it was scripted, or whatever they want to call it. To me, that's where the biggest problem is.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was the biggest issue there. The fact that they didn't stop it, because you see it stop. Sorry, not that they didn't stop it, they didn't let it go, because you see it let go often. You let the play finish and then you make your call. Yeah, I get that it was stopped and the player stopped playing or whatever, but before that, you should have let the play go and just see what happens. I don't have no horse in the race. I don't care if Madrid wins or Bayern wins. I care less. But yeah, they should have let that play go.
The Panther game, what a fight that happened. Oh my god.
There were 10-minute majors handed out to everyone.
Wow, wrecked. Like just fights. Oh my god, man. It's incredible. Do you imagine in soccer if like people were just allowed like,
People just
you know
fought.
what? I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done.
There would have been some fights today. I guarantee you that. So before we wrap up here, any final thoughts?
Nope. Just go to the watch party on Saturday, everybody. If you're local, South Florida, Hialeah, Unbranded Brewing, we're all going to be there. Can't wait to meet everybody, whoever decides to go. It's on our Instagram, it's on our Twitter, all of the details of the address and all that stuff. So match starts at 7:30. We'll be there before just to hang out and have some beer, have some food.
We have a couple goodies to give away to anybody who wants to show up early. We'll hook you up with a little bit of swag, and yeah, come on and enjoy the beatdown.
Is that for sure, Julio? We have swag.
Yeah.
Oh, best swag.
Never in doubt. So with that said, thank you guys for joining the Heron Heads podcast. For those of you still watching on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out till the end. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. And we will catch you. It'll probably be a later stream on Saturday because we're not going to stream on location. We're going to, wrap up there, head home, and then go live. So it'll be a little bit later of a stream on Saturday, but we do hope to see you there. And thank you guys so much for hanging out. And thank you for joining us on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. And we will catch you on the next one. See you guys.